Yeah, so this is where we store our paint. We got like about 3,000 cans, scaffolding, ladders. What we're doing right now is we're gonna take out all the crates and sort all the colors by tones. So the blue tones go with the blue tones, the yellows with the yellows. But it's gonna save us a lot of time when we're down at the Hall of Fame and I'm looking for yellow. I know those two crates right there is all yellows, different tones, and I don't have to look like for 10 minutes for one color.
Blow it up with caps.
Yeah.
You had it, blow, so you had it already. No, si no lo printearon.
All right, so what we gonna do? Home Depot and F&F?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's go get this paint.
Since the early 80s in the Hall of Fame, it's always been competitive because the title alone, it says strictly Kings and better.
Whenever we do the Hall of Fame, we're going there to get busy. You can say it's not a battle, it is, whatever. We're here. All we do is battle.
Every year, our goal has always been to outdo our own selves.
Every year we gotta come with the best. We call ourselves the Mural Kings. So we have to show the younger generation and the older generation that we're still gonna be the top ranking crew in New York City, and we wanna be the top ranking crew around the world.
But you know, Tats CRU every year is the king. It's burn everybody.
Tats CRU. In the early 80s, like, I saw a train, and it was like a scene or Dondi or Lee piece.
Growing up in New York City, I saw the graffiti on the subway, and I just saw like the doors close on the subway, and there was like this huge cartoon character on the outside of the train.
And to me, that shit was like the world's largest comic book cover, you know what I mean? Like, it had the name, which was like the title of a comic, you know what I mean? And it had a character, which was like the superhero. I mean, it had all the elements and all the colors.
And I was like, wow, I was always into art. You know, I enjoyed drawing, whatever. But when I saw this, I was like captivated. I was like, whoa, I said, I gotta do that.
And I was like, wow, that's like a lot of colors. That's what I want to do.
Wow, what is that? I want to know who's doing that and, you know, how to do that. So, like any other graph head, you have to find the name. Because obviously you're not gonna go putting your government name up on walls and, like, you know, you might as well add an address to that. So I started writing NICE, N-I-C-E, and there was a time in the 80s where they would put like IZM at the end of a name or ERs at the end of the name. So I had painted a train, and someone said they saw it and introduced me to someone else as NICE, and I was like, nah, it's NICE. You know, for some reason that train just lasted, so people it stuck, so.
My name is Bio. I grew up in Bronx Projects, and I met this guy named Kenny. He used to write View, V-U-E. And one day we were hanging out in the staircase in the projects, tagging, whatever, and he did like a B-I-O tag. He's like, why don't you try this name? So I stuck with Bio. That became the name I decided to stick with.
My name is BG183. I got it from playing baseball. I used to bring the runners in. So I said, hey, bring them in, bring them in. So people started calling me Bring. So I took the B and the G and put it together. And then the number came about because people used to say I had like 183 styles. So it became BG183.
before Tats CRU became Tats CRU, it was originally TAT. That was a crew name we had for ourselves when we painted on the trains in the 80s. Back then, TAT stood for Top Artistic Talents. Founders of TAT was Brim, Mac, Bass, and Bio. Bio met Brim and Bass in junior high school, and they started TAT together.
So then I met Bio in a major art class in James Morrow High School.
I met Bio and BG in 1980. I was actually younger than them, so I was sort of like that kid that would follow people around and be like, yo, I remember I used to show BG outlines. He used to look at it and be like, good try. And like, you bastard. But it put me on a mission to go back home and, you know, try harder.
After I met Bio, you know, we started hitting trains.
At our strongest point, was probably like in the mid-80s. There was myself, Raz with the S, BG, Mac, Bio, Rim, Shame 125, Ken, Sam, Raz.
And then more people got down after that, you know. I think the total of the crew was like about maybe 25 to 30 members of TAT.
You know, it was a pretty big crew back then. The thing is that we always painted together, so, you know, we had a reputation where we always had beef, so, you know, we wasn't scared of it because it was, you know, power in numbers. You know, I guess we were probably one of the most hated crews that was painting on the trains at the time. But we always paid respect to like the old school heads that were doing it before us. It wasn't until later on in the early 90s that we hooked up with Fat Joe.
Cook, Coke, Crack, TATS, Terror Errors, the Squad. Name Crack, I had it before the drug crack. I had crack when I was in junior high. You know, the teacher would tell me to write something on the board. Every time I got up, the crack of my ass would show. So they would always call me Joey Crack. So that's how I started writing Crack, TS.
His crew was TS. It was called the Spanish or Terror Squad.
Back then, we just knew him as a graph head. He used to write crack. So we knew him from around the way, and we knew he liked to street bomb.
And I knew him from my neighborhood because he grew up there by Trinity, and I grew up here by Hunts Point.
I like graffiti. The legend around my block was VIC, Vandals in Control. And we was the offspring. We was TS, which was Gizmo and Cosmo. They both passed away. They invented TS. Original meaning of TS was Terror Squad. Terror Squad was always the name of TS. They both got to an age where they felt like they outgrew it. So they was like, yo, Joe, we gonna make you, you know, the president of TS, and we out, you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I swear, I'll never forget, I'm like, in junior high school, I'm like, yo, I swear, you give me this crew, I'm gonna take TS to a different level. I never knew it would be a record label, you know what I mean? But that's where it comes from. So, you know, I was killing shit. And this is after the trains, this was on the streets. I was doing throw-ups on the courthouse and just smashing shit. And out of nowhere, I just started seeing Brim. I was like, oh shit, Brim TAT is back. And he's the problem. So he was terrorizing shit. He used to have these fat caps this fucking big.
Then we met Fat Joe, and then Brim and Fat Joe, they hit it off really good, and they started hanging out and started bombing.
So me and him tore shit up. All 5 boroughs everywhere, just bombing and loving it and tearing shit up.
So we were still painting, but hitting the walls hard, like doing nice, dope productions.
I always looked up to them when I was coming up writing graffiti. They always been the best. They would invite me and I would be there, but you know, I was never as good as the crew. They would always, you know, where I make my mistakes, come through and be like, shh, you need the shadow here, Joe.
Being always together with them and bombing and doing pieces and stuff, we sort of like put the crews together where it was just TAT and TS. They had too many T's, so we ended up just dropping one T and putting TATS. People were like, oh, you guys are Tats.
We just became, you know, TATS. They felt like, you know, they were part of TS and I was a part of TAT. And for me, it was an honor.
The name just stuck, and we've just been calling ourselves Tats ever since.
It just so happens TS blew the fuck on up. There wasn't nothing wrong with being TATS at that moment right there.
You know, now we were painting in the street. We were asking for permission for walls. So now there were faces to these names. Remember, when we painted in the subways in the 80s, there was no faces to the names. What ended up happening at the end of the 80s, once we stopped painting trains.
Me and Bob and I sat down, and I told him, look, let's do murals. The more murals we did, the more we wanted to come up with a theme. Let's come up with a theme.
These dudes really be like, all right, we're gonna do this wall. We're coming up with a concept. Like, these niggas come up with concepts.
One of the walls that we did was like a Godzilla wall. You know, that became like a theme. That was like a black and white, you know, mural that we painted.
Them dudes are a problem. Nicer, Bio, BG, they're so talented and so creative. And not only are they creative with the artwork and the coloring, is like their ideas. They don't even understand how serious is their ideas, you know, till you really like break it down. They're incredible, there's no way around it. They're really genius, man. Like they deserve a movie like this. Tats CRU, best graffiti crew on the planet Earth.
Should I move the van up a little?
As far as the mural productions, we all work together. There's 6 of us. We all split it up. Like Nice is pretty good with the characters, and BG's good with portraits, so we divide up the responsibilities. I'm pretty much the letter guy, so I'll do all the lettering. The twins are pretty versatile, so they'll work background, do their names, and Sentu gets busy doing his pieces.
So Sentu, that's me, alright? Sentu on the Hall of Fame representing Boricua, straight Boricua. Simple piece. Today, it's painting something different, painting something nice, you know, something unboxing.
You know, we just all work together, fill in, move around, jump around, you know? One guy's, here, hold this ladder, get me this color, let's move down, whitewash this, you know, we share the responsibilities. Same thing, we each look for colors, we dig for paint, you know? No man is above no man.
No, mira, está haciendo con un pedazo de papel. Water's getting behind it. I can start laying out.
Like a beveled edge. We're like, got a pen? Let me get a pen. Who got a pen?
Oh, what's that camera? Give me one.
You know what I'm talking about.
Tats CRU champion,
Do it
yo.
like this.
The space, right?
Yeah, then we know
So let me what color we doing it?
space size. It should be like yellows. Start with something muted though. Something we can't spare.
Okay, nice one. You ready, nice one?
Yo, what's up, man? It's Desi Dez, a.k.a. Spade 429, a.k.a. the Graffiti Gangster. You know how I get down, a.k.a. K-Slay, slap your favorite DJ. Whatever you want to call me, man, I'm here, man. You know what I'm saying? Repping with my homeboys, TAT CRU, Tats CRU. You know what I'm saying? I knew these niggas for like over 20 years. It's all gravy. They still doing it. I still come out and do it. This is what it's all about, man.
Where we at right now, we in Spanish Harlem. Graffiti Hall of Fame, 106 in Park, the original 106 in Park. Started right here.
We at the official 106 in Park Graffiti Hall of Fame, man. The first Graffiti Hall of Fame in the whole world, yo. This is the essence right here, man. You know, I wasn't the one that started it. It was a guy named Stingray, Ray Rodriguez. He was from the community. So basically what he wanted to do is, you know, he got together with Dez.
Oh yeah, I mean, it first started at Park East High School. You know, it was a community organizer named Ray, which we used to call him SR 106. He lived right on this block, right down, you know, on 106th Street. And he seen me doing a piece.
We used to live around here. I'm not sure if he's still around or what. And he had access, he was a teacher in a school nearby here, so.
But then he seen me another time doing a piece and took my number and called me. And he asked me, could I contact artists? Like, he really wanted us to paint his fucking office. So I had called PART.
He got a group of, you know, artists together. He had one of the first programs where they did something inside the school, which was unique.
It got so big that we had to expand it, because now we had every top artist in the city trying to come and paint in the office. There wasn't no room, so.
Then it elevated to 106 in Lexington. From 106 in Lexington, it elevated to 106 in Park.
He wrote a proposal, and he got permission from Junior High School 13 for us to paint the wall. The first wall, it was, I had the Graffiti Hall of Fame, I had the letters. Volcan did this rock group called Plasmatics. You know, once we took pictures of that and he showed it to the board, he gave us permission to do the whole schoolyard. That was 80 when we first did the wall, but then after we got permission the next year, 81, like everybody was down there. And then it just turned into like a tradition.
You know, as a kid growing up and being in graffiti, to go there, like it didn't have a museum. I mean, for us, that was its museum. That's where it belonged. It was in the hood, it was in the grime.
Everybody who was in there were like the stars of the subways at the time. For me to walk in there, to me, it was really a Graffiti Hall of Fame. So, you know, I didn't paint there until many years later.
Back then, nobody could paint from outside New York City. You know, you really had to hit trains, you really had to have a strong crew. So that's why it was the Graffiti Hall of Fame, only strictly kings and better.
For Tats CRU, we've been painting in the Graffiti Hall of Fame now since the mid-'80s. And we've been painting there pretty much on and off since. You know, there were a few years that we didn't paint, and then the Hall of Fame actually went abandoned for a few years.
Ezo came along and pumped life into it. We were asked to go down and blaze the front wall, which is called the title wall. You know, that was the birth of the Hall of Fame again. And we've been doing it ever since.
Well, the Hall of Fame event, well, basically it's an event we do every year. We do it in June. It's a 2-day event. You got people that come down. We do the whole 4 elements of hip hop.
The goal is to, how you say it, exhibit artists, old, new, in between, you know what I mean?
We're doing this basically for the community and for the kids, you know, and for the school, you know, because the kids, when they come to school, they happy to come here because they see their school on TV.
For us, it's one of the biggest honors there is to be able to paint that wall.
The Hall of Fame is the Mecca. This is the Hall of Fame that started all the Hall of Fames throughout the entire world in graffiti. As small as this schoolyard may be, this is the one, you know?
The fact that this is like the only place in the world that is actually done like this.
This side and the Tats CRU side on the outside as well. That makes this the whole jump off of the whole Graffiti Hall of Fame.
You know, so those 2 walls is like the focal points. They set it off for the whole entire yard. You know what I mean? So if you see that wall getting, you know, done up properly, then you gotta be on, you know, your A game.
I come every year, yo.
So how long you see yourselves doing the Graffiti Hall of Fame?
Till I can't fucking lift my right arm, man. I'm willing, I'm saying. I mean, yo, with me, I've always been the type of person, no matter how successful I get with whatever, I don't forget where I come from. You understand what I'm saying? And I think it would be real disrespectful for me to blow up on the music tip, and now like I can't come get down and dirty anymore. Yeah, come on, I love this shit, man. Yeah, man. Every year I fuck my clothes up when I come out here.
I mean, I don't see any other event like the Hall of Fame that brings so many different artists together from different generations to paint. You You know what I mean? I don't see watercolorists doing it.
A lot of artists that didn't hit the subways are down here now. It's a lot of artists from different countries.
It's still strictly Kings and better, but I'm just giving it a flavor of different parts of the world where people come down and represent as well.
I mean, you got 3 new cats that just joined Tats CRU. You got, you know, How Nazem and Sentu. So for the old 3, you know what I mean, it's like we're battling, because we always have that mentality, like we're battling each other.
I felt really honored when I painted for the very first time at the Hall of Fame. That actually was something really special for me and my brother, because it was, as I remember, one of the first times that a non-New Yorker or a European actually painted in the Hall of Fame.
For me, it's like one of the best part of my life. It's like, look the magazine in Puerto Rico, 105 Park Avenue, Hall of Fame. A lot of real famous people's painting. And me painting like 5 years right now, it's like, I don't believe.
It's a free museum. You're walking in, you're getting the best artwork, you know, from 3 generations and at this point now it's an international thing. So you're getting 3 generations and international artists from around the world. And where else can you go and get that for free?
Right now, we just whitewashed the wall, and now we just gonna do the ideas that we have. It's the boxing theme, and it's looking good, you know. On my side, that's the corner, you know, I'm gonna do my name, BG, and then Nice is gonna do his name on the right-hand side, and then we're gonna do the actual, the belt, you know what I'm saying, the championship belt right there in the middle. That's represent the whole crew, and then each one gonna represent themselves as the artist, you know. I told him, yo.
People don't like Tats CRU. Right? That's a band squad. The people don't like Tats CRU, you know.
Should I sketch out this part, like that area?
We have to do the smaller oval.
Do the smooth oval first.
Smaller oval, which is the shape of the globe, and then we know the space of this.
Okay.
Because it has its beginnings in the streets, the first people that were against us was the Vandal Squad. And they're like, wait a minute, look at these guys, you know, like they're making money off of this, this has got to be illegal.
Police always is around, you know. If it's undercover or, you know, like regular police, they always pass by. A lot of times they don't say nothing, but a lot of times they stop us and ask us for permission, you know.
You see the cops rolling by, and you know, someone of them might say, hey, I like the work, and someone might say, they just keep driving by because they know that place there.
They see us, they be like, oh, that's Tats CRU, and we're like, yes. And then they're ready, yeah, we know we got permission, you know. And it is true, we always have permission, you know. Like, we don't do any job without permission or personal work without permission, because we know the Vandal Squad is, you know, feeling together, so, you know, like put us in the media. Tats CRU doing illegal graffiti, you know.
The Vandal Squad is just a constant battle with them. Their job is to stop us. Our job is to do what we do, you know.
Okay. Come out.
Tell me why.
7. You wanna go 7 or you wanna go?
Hey.
I'll go here. I'll put you here, Nazem. Ah, you want here or you? No, you was here last time, right? Where were you? You was over there? Okay. Yeah, like, there's the space in between the pieces.
the S, that's the E, that's the N.
I'm laying out a background, and then later I'm gonna come back with a darker color and do the Tats CRU logo. Not the tag, but the one with the brush, with the spray can and airbrush.
And his car's like this, and I just, like this, and when I put it in park, the car moved up a little bit, and the edge of my plate is bent out a little bit, so it hit his bumper, and took a chip of paint right off. Nicer, and Bio, them niggas ratted me out. They ratted me out. All the time.
All the time. All the time.
Yo, I'm family, nigga. I ain't the enemy, bro. Yeah, I told the cop that too. He said, yo, gyro. I said, I eat that shit in the face. What are you doing right now? He said, yeah. He goes, yeah.
That's why when we met Howard Nazem in like the mid-90s, it was funny. What ended up happening was
Howard Nazem had come from a small town in Germany called Düsseldorf.
You know, like I follow the graph movement, and originally it's from the South Bronx, New York. We just bought the ticket and came over here. We had no contacts, nothing. I ran into Bio BG Nicer through Brim, who was running Fat Joe's store.
Well, it was called Halftime. It was me and Brim. Brim really ran the whole company. You know, incorporated graffiti / hip hop gear. People from all over the world, tourists to come.
Brim told him, you know, he's not really painted anymore, but he'll hook us up. You know, he connected them to me, Nicer, and BG.
Bio called me back, and he said, yeah, no problem, just meet us. We're doing a job on 126 it was, and 2nd Avenue.
about an hour and a half passes. They call back, they're like, yo, I'm here on 26th Street, where you at? So I was like, no, 126. All right, no problems.
And we went, it took us like mad long to get there.
They call about another half hour later. They're up like by 220 something, and they're like lost. But they traveled Manhattan up and down.
I don't know if they were playing tricks with us or not, but they were sending us back and forth. I wasn't getting the addresses, but I had no clue of the system and nothing. So,
and we looking at them and we're like, you know, what the hell are these guys?
We met them and we saw their portfolios. You know, what was interesting was like the work was like really like top-notch work, but never really heard of these guys.
And we started asking them questions, and we found out they spoke Spanish because they were born in Spain.
So here, like these two white-looking guys who are telling us they're from Germany, but they're fluent in Spanish. So we're like,
you start talking to them, and they flip it from English to Spanish, and then they speak to each other in German.
But yeah, we met them, and it was really cool. We got along. You know, they were surprised that we speak Spanish, and they loved our artwork. You know.
But they each had a portfolio. What was funny about it was that when you look at one photo, you would see half the wall, and you'd be like, where's the other half? And they was like, oh, and it's in my brother's book. And you have to look in the other portfolio to see the rest of the wall, because they would do half and half the wall when they work.
Yeah, what I didn't realize or take into consideration was that the name of their crew was RAL. It was just them two. So it stood for right and left. And then you're looking at these books, and it's like he's got the right side of the wall, he's got the left side of the wall. That was their gimmick, you know what I mean? So we thought it was cool.
We got along, and after like 2 days, I did a wall with them. And they said, yeah, paint whatever you want, you know, like as much as you want. And when we come back, we jump in and finish it up. That was in the morning. They left, I think they had to do a job. When they came back, we were finished, and we were like, have you guys finished already? And then we surprised them basically with that. They were like, oh shit, you guys are fast and nice. And I guess that was like a little test for us. I think so, I don't know, they never confess to it.
And they just turned out to be like good guys, you know. Apart from the fact that they were good artists, they were also cool people. So, you know, our whole thing is it doesn't matter. You could be the most talented guy in the world, but if you're an asshole, you're an asshole, and we're not going to deal with you just because you're a good artist.
The Twins came along in '97, and they had the same idea of coming up with like a theme and all that, so it made it even better for us to even paint even more.
They asked me if me and my brother want to represent Tats CRU in Europe, and of course I wasn't going to deny that, you know. They wanted me and my brother to represent in Europe or worldwide, because they knew we was traveling a lot, the Tats CRU. And we said there's no problem to do that. I was proud to represent a famous Bronx-based graffiti crew and to be the only new school member. Then we just kept coming back and forth. You know, in '98 we came back for another month, and '99 we stood a little bit longer, and it's been now almost 5 years that we've been here.
They hung out with us, and we sort of like embraced them ever since. They're now part of the family.
As I paint, I decide what I want to do. Like right here, my concept is I just started dark. As I'm going along, I'm getting lighter. And I don't know if I'm going to go back to dark or switch the color completely. I mean, at this point, you know, whatever. Basically, whatever goes.
Working on my piece, you know, working on my heat right now. Putting bright color on the green one. Coming out nice, let me finish.
I love these people.
Is that why you stopped? What happened?
Yeah, you know, because they changed this. I have been dying to meet these people because you know what? They always have something so positive on these murals. I'm like, who the hell are these people? Where are they? And I've been praying, Lord, I just want to meet them one time. God answered let me tell you, they made my whole, yeah!
In like 90, 92, these kids from Puerto Rico reached out to us. They had like a little crew over there. And it was this guy, Ski, Rec, Soz, and Sentu.
Telling my mother, yo, I like graffiti, let me move out to New York. My mother told me, yo, New York's not like Puerto Rico, it's real difficult. It's like crazy people on the street.
We met Sentu, he was actually painting the wall.
He came through one day, Sam and Ken brought him through. They were old members of TAT.
Sam, Ken introduced me with Tats CRU, Bio BG Nicer.
So on their section, they were gonna put Sentu down. So, I mean, he painted, he was painting good, and we sort of vibed with him and connected.
And I see this guy painting, I'm like, it's nice, you know, it looks good. I was like, who is this guy? And they're like, oh, he's from Puerto Rico. And Sentu, you know, is a real humble guy, real quiet, soft-spoken. You know, not the Sentu, you know, today, loud, you know.
He came to New York and he brought all these pictures, so it was like, fuck it, you know, he's a Boricua, let's put him down, let him paint. So he would paint walls with us every now and then. You know, he sort of like palled around with the crew, you know what I mean?
He painted one wall, Bio BG Nicer told me, yo, I like it, you want to working together.
So Sentu would work on a part-time basis with us, and he continued to do that until the point where we were able to bring him on full-time.
They whitewash, let everyone bio, Milon, a lot of stuff, while the company's coming out, you know.
Basically, he put himself down, to be honest. He just came through one day and just hung out, and we never got rid of him. I couldn't get rid of him ever since. But he's family now. I guess there's no getting rid of him now.
Peace. Send to Tats CRU, ¿qué pasa? Boricua hasta la muerte.
Right now, just putting more colors in. Just it's getting dark. I'm probably gonna just chill for a little bit, lay back, and see, you know, how it's looking.
I did a piece years ago in the front of the Hall of Fame, and I did a huge bio, and I dedicated it to an old writer who had passed away, Shy 147, like in my 3D. You know, that's the way writers used to pay tribute to people like that. The first time we did a memorial wall with a portrait was for one of Fat Joe's best friend, Tony. You know, Fat Joe was just coming out with his first album, and his friend Tony had been killed, so we did a portrait of his face on the paddle book.
We started also getting calls for memorial walls. For me, it was like the most saddest thing to do, because that I'm painting my own people on the wall.
After a while, I got to the point where we didn't even know these people.
Now it became more like a mural for the person that's passed away.
So we sort of try to personalize each mural. You know, we included a portrait, we include the name or nickname, we include the date of birth, the date of death, and maybe a quick few words from the family or friends. And that became the pattern in developing to what the memorial walls are today.
BG's the killer portrait guy.
I want to make sure that it looks like 100% of the person that I'm painting on these walls, because I'm dealing with the family, and if it doesn't look like the face, they don't care what we do in the pieces for his name. You could do the dopest background, but if the face don't look like the person, they don't care, you know. And then when the face look like the person, that's when everything come into place. Oh yeah, I like the background, I like the car, I like the scenery, I like everything else. People come up to me after I finish the wall. People say, look man, I just got a rush just seeing the face. You know, you really capture his look.
Early on, people were saying, oh, these memorial walls are drug dealers, they're gang members, you're glorifying. And that wasn't the case, because we were doing memorial walls for everybody in the neighborhood. They were just normal people from the neighborhood who had people that cared enough about them to have them put up on these walls. The day when Pun died, we were actually here in the office getting the paint ready to go do some promotional walls for the second album that was about to drop. And we got a call from somebody saying, is it true that Big Pun passed away? And we were like, what you talking about? Like, I don't know, I didn't hear anything about that. They're like, nah, somebody told me that he passed away today. Somebody else called right after that, again, asking the same thing. And we're like, damn, something must have happened. So I said, you know what, let me find out. So I called Fat Joe, and Joe's wife picks up the phone, and I asked her, I said, is it true? People keep calling here asking us if Pun died. And she was like, yeah, he did. He died today. And we were like, I told the guys, I said, you know, Pun died. And they were like, you bugging. I was like, everybody's bugging out. Like, oh, shit.
You didn't even have to tell them. They was just on it, doing what they had to do.
You know, to see somebody who's a friend of yours go through like a loss like this, and you know the person who passed away, you know, it's a traumatic thing. But then again, if you knew Pun, you know that he'll want you to just continue and get busy and do your thing.
So instead of going out to do the promotional campaign, we decided that we were going to do a memorial wall for him. So we decided to use a wall here in the Bronx. At the time, what was on the wall was a character with a bulletproof vest and 2 guns, which actually Pun had took some publicity photos in front of the walls when he was first coming up as a rapper. Being that he liked that wall so much, he was like, let's do it over that wall.
Before we could even get word out that Pun passed, the rumor was all over the hood, all over the street, like, yo, Tats, they doing the craziest piece you ever seen. And I would say thank you, but I wouldn't expect nothing else from them. That's who they are. They good people.
That shit had to be the craziest day ever. We started painting, about an hour in, there's like 50 people, 100 people just gathering. And before you know it, the entire block is just like swarming with people. It was just, people were just coming from all over.
It's like I went over there and I was like, you know, I was numb. I couldn't even tell you what I was thinking. So I went over there and I was like,
you know, for us, it's overwhelming. You know, we're used to crowds when we paint, but this was like unheard of. And the second day when we finished, you know, we're sitting back, we drive off, we get arrested, you know, for paint. We actually got arrested for painting. Funny. We got arrested for painting that wall. You know, we were picked up somewhere else. You know, they didn't grab us at the wall. They picked us up like a few blocks away. They didn't want to do it in front of, I guess, the crowd or whatever. And we spent the night in jail. They were claiming that the property owners were pressing charges. I said, they're not pressing charges. I said, we've been painting this wall for years. They're like, nah. We're sitting in central booking, and the CEOs are coming up to us like, yo, you guys were just on the news, blah, blah, blah. Fat Joe had went to the precinct. Jimmy from Jimmy's Bronx Cafe were there. You know, you had politicians calling the precinct. In the morning, the detectives who arrested us the day before show up, and they were like, that's it, you know, you're free to go. I think they just underestimated our standing in the community. They figured we were just some criminals. They don't understand we do a lot of work in the community, and we got mad love from the people in the street when we paint. We do change it every year. He passed away the 7th, so every February 6th we start the new wall. The one that we did last year has a nice portrait of him, Yankee Stadium, you know, some graffiti style letterings, has a mic for the eye. Different versions of it have been in magazines, videos. You know, Fat Joe always uses it whenever he does interviews. It's really like a celebration of his life. People really want this wall to be done, you know? In the dark, at that point, I mean, your eyes start adjusting after you're in the dark for a few, it starts to adjust, you know? And then you're pretty much just going by instinct at that point.
How far have you gotten today?
Well, we did like 40% of the wall, you know, like 50%. Tomorrow, I'm gonna finish my piece, and I'm gonna work in the middle, because the middle is the most important thing, you know? The bed is the whole team, and if that doesn't look right, then the whole wall is, you know, a little weak. So we gotta work on that.
I mean, everything's going well. The drawings are coming out good. All the paintings are coming out good. We got a lot up on the wall today. We had to come out today like around 3:30, just because, you know, we had to wait for the kids to get out of school. So, with the time being limited, we can only paint from about like 4 o'clock on. You know, I'd say we got a lot done. So.
I'm done with my piece. Done with the piece, and tomorrow we come back and knock out the background.
Cool. How'd the day go for you?
Went okay. You know, got here late, but we got to do a lot of stuff, so we're gonna hang out another hour or two, and then I guess head home or hang out.
Losing light, but you know, we're gonna continue working a couple of hours more through the night. You know, at this point, everybody's pretty much working by instinct, filling in. You know, tomorrow everybody come back and fine tune. Like, I'm pretty much gonna probably leave this like this. If I do add anything, maybe just a light green in the 3D, if that. You know, BG's still working on his, so he probably wants to finish up. But we still got the rest of the background to work on tomorrow. You know, we gotta start working on the emblem here, which needs to be fine-tuned, more shading, work on the letters, make it look more embossed, you know, clean up the writing. We gotta add the belt, do the stitching on the belt, the rivets, start giving it to life, you know, putting the whole concept together. You know, at this point, I say we're at 40% done, you know?
We are the Mural Kings because we have the most jobs out there, the most murals.
I remember the day I was telling people that I was gonna leave my job to start painting, you know, murals. They were like, did you ever hear a starving artist? I'm like, yeah, but you know, I wanna eat.
This is the only company in the world. Everybody look at me like, oh, you work painting graffiti. Graffiti, that's not a job. Yeah, that's a company that people don't believe me.
As far as Tats CRU the company, it started for many reasons. One of the reasons being that it's something that we enjoy doing and that we love. But we were also realizing that a lot of these corporations were using graffiti in their ads or trying to promote products.
I mean, we started the first graffiti company. At this point, like, our whole mission was to try to get into doors that otherwise would be closed to us.
You know, we became that link for these corporations to the street or to the market that they're trying to reach.
You know, we had the New York Times, we had the Daily News doing an interview on us, like why a big corporation is hiring 3 Latinos from the Bronx to do work for them.
We do work for corporations. We've done Reebok, we've done Coca-Cola, Seagram's. We've done stuff for M&M, Snapple. Right now we're in the middle of a project with McDonald's.
We did a job for Jennifer Lopez, and when we mentioned that, then everybody was, oh yeah, that's great.
The bigger I've gotten as an artist, or putting out artists like Pun, there's funds to market and promote the album. So I stepped to TAT, Bio and Nice and them, and I was like, yo, I want y'all to take the album cover and put them up on all the walls. It's hood, it's representing real hip-hop, incorporating graffiti.
My mentality is it's still bombing. I'm spray painting still. The only difference is that I'm doing one day this company, and the next day that company, the other day that.
You know, but it's a hot feeling. Every time we do the wall over, say we do it for Jose or Loyalty, or we just did it right now for the True Story album. We already paid our money for the Fat Joe Things of That Nature album.
We paint every day, basically, you know, and with high quality. When there's people looking for jobs or they want to hire graffiti artists, usually our name pops up the first.
I'm making lots of dough.
I never forget them and their contributions and how they helped me get to where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? So I always got to find a way to break them off. Sometimes y'all niggas be getting gassed, so I had to put y'all in y'all place, let y'all know crack is here. Cause them dudes, boy, they get money now, so they be, this ain't no money. I'm like, are you fucking crazy, nigga?
Just adding more flavors to the 3D. Just trying to bring out the 3D even more. I'm still working on the colors scheme, but I'm almost done.
Well, yesterday we laid it out, got to position everything, realize where we have to put shadows and what else we're gonna add. So right now I'm doing like the whole detail thing because it's just too plain.
I think I ruined my piece, I don't know. I put the purple outline and I'm not too happy, so. Right now it remains, again, to be seen. I'm getting old.
The whole wall is gonna take like the whole day, but I'm gonna be done like in an hour.
Right now I'm just still laying stuff out. Got late last night, was tired, so just more. I want to get some rest and anything else, so like called it a night early.
God is mad, he about to let it loose on all of us. So since I want my seeds, Pop got to...
Painting till you can't paint no more. That's the plan.
Everything gonna be okay?
Yeah, we be fine. Won't be the first time.
Caught a little weather, caught a little rain, so we're just trying to wait it out right now. It's not what we can do. When Mother Nature's bad, she's bad. So as soon as it passes and it stops, we just wipe the wall down and try to get finished.
Right here? Okay. I put them over here. Huh?
So basically, we done.
Tats CRU. This how we do it. This how we get down.
Right now, it's like, I don't really, when I come, I like to do simple letters, readable now, because, you know, this shit is getting a lot of attention, and actually more attention than I think we got when we was doing it. So I want a motherfucker to be able to read that shit say K-Slate, or if it says Des, like, you understand, opposed to on the subway. It was just our thing. It was like, look, I'm doing this, nigga, if you rock and you know what it say, everybody else, fuck y'all. This is our own little thing. Now, it's a worldwide thing, you know? Yeah, get the pigs, Yeah. You see? yeah.
I think the biggest thing about graffiti is how the fucking cops crack down. Like they got it mastered, you know, infiltrated. You know, they know when you hear some shit. You hear some shit, just be ready for them to come get you, like, you know. And you know, it's a serious thing.
The Vandal Squad who thinks that through us, because we're successful, we inspire the youth or other people to keep doing what we're doing, and what they're doing, they just do it illegally, and we're doing it legal.
Look, we got a fucking permit. So, nigga, we could go home and come back 3 days later. You understand what I'm saying? Ain't no police coming to do shit to us. We're comfortable. We could go buy a black if you run out. You could go, it's no pressure on you.
One of the biggest differences between painting a mural on the wall and painting a subway is that, yeah, I mean, the subway had wheels on it. You can paint it here in the Bronx, or shit'll roll through Manhattan, end up in Brooklyn or Queens, and come right back again. So, I mean, a lot of people got to see it.
You know, subway trains was just a world of its own, and trains consisted more focus on the name. You know, the name was the important part. Everything, characters and background, was like secondary, and you may just do your whole name covering the whole car with no background at all, just letters. And you know, that's not the case nowadays when we do walls.
The feeling of doing graffiti on a train is like, it's a rush, because you know, you got to be watching your back, you got to be watching other graffiti artists or the police, and it's way different from actually painting a mural.
Fucking subways, you had to look out for the cops, you had to look out for niggas you had beef with, you had to look out for the fucking third rail, amongst everything, you understand? It was like a lot of pressure on you.
Time is the essence. You gotta paint quick, you gotta be out of there and go to the next thing, you know? You can't just stay in there, back up and see what you're doing. Even you catch like a drip or two, you know, you try to fix it up as quick as you can and go to the next train.
The average person that's painting now wouldn't dare going in the 5 or the 2 tunnel, right under here, like in Harlem. You had to go in the tunnel, walk on the tracks and paint. For 2 reasons. Not only the police, if I would have caught you in there, I was taking your paint, your sneakers, your jacket. Come on, y'all niggas know I was like a foul dude. And it was about 80 other motherfuckers like me, case 2. They got 1 arm.
You know, that was the way it was in the 80s. It was really a dog-eat-dog, like, you know, type of, you know, thing.
My crew, I was always the best thief. Like, I could steal the most paint, you know. Like, I used to master the art. I have a drawer, I would guess, a cabinet where I have all the paint. And I would have my jacket, my coat lined up, like make a special lining and just be like practicing. Like, sure, can I see that flashlight? As soon as you go, throw them in the arms. You know, I used to practice it like at home, like it was an art, swinging it to the back, swinging it to the back, swinging it in my pants. And I was the king. I was the king of racking.
You know, that's what goes on in graffiti, because it is, you know, when all the cameras go away and, you know, this shit is real. The only ones out here is you in the streets. Times has changed, but graph has gone through an evolution. Back then, you wasn't a real writer, you know, unless you painted a train. So, I mean, now you can call yourself a graffiti writer and not even have to paint a train. Now you walk up to any wall and get permission and just, you know, paint.
Back then, it was more competitive, yo, because, see, when the subways was active, you came down here like, yo, I'm not gonna have this motherfucker talking about he burnt me. You understand? Because that's the whole thing. A nigga come down, give you a pound, smoke with you, smile with you, but he's saying in his head, yeah, I'm gonna burn this nigga and pop shit about it. That's how it was. It wasn't nothing personal, but everybody was out to outshine motherfuckers. So, I mean, Scheme was my partner. But I was trying to burn him every go.
People have come and gone in that yard. Like, if you look at the yard, there's just so many people that paint. I mean, originally it was just, you know what, it was a New York thing and they were only New York writers.
A lot of artists that didn't hit the subways, you know what I'm saying, are down here now. It's a lot of artists from different countries and shit. Like, I'll be coming down there like, who the fuck is that? You understand? And they be like, that's this and that. He's big over there or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, you know. Like, back in my days, we only had Lady Pink and Lady Heart. There's some fucking girl down there now that's doing whatever she's doing, but she know what she's doing. Like, I've seen about 2 or 3 fucking girls. It's like, you know, the whole environment is different.
We've been doing the girl wall since last year. They let us have a spot just for the girls. The year before that, I came and dropped a little character on the stairs, and they were cool with that, so they gave us the wall the next year.
In Europe, it's different. You know, old school, new school really work close with each other, and that's why there's such a big boom.
And there's an art form that speaks to, you know, kids throughout the world.
That's how somehow the whole movement got even bigger. Spread it out to Australia a lot, and Asia, and Africa, and this is a entire worldwide movement.
These kids nowadays learn about graffiti through the internet. And
the mass media really have to spread out the movement, support it through the internet, you know, like you don't even have to buy no magazine no more, you just do a few clicks.
Right now it's like, I don't really, when I come, I like to do simple letters, readable now, because, you know, this shit is getting a lot of attention, and actually more attention than I think we got when we was doing it. So I want a motherfucker to be able to read that shit say K-Slate or says Des, like, you understand, opposed to on the subway. It was just our thing. It was like, look, I'm doing this, nigga, if you rock and you know what it say, everybody else, fuck y'all. This is our own little thing. Now, it's a worldwide thing, you know?